I've chosen to cover my face. I'm not doing it because somebody else has told me to do it, or or I'm feeling suppressed into doing it.
You mentioned the word scholars. Now, you, like other scholars, they use the hadith. For those of you who don't know, the hadith are the supposed sayings of the Prophet, mostly compiled 250 years after his death. Many, not all, but many are suspect and fraudulent.
But this is not subservience or subjugation. This is entirely your choice.
Absolutely. But it is true that the Prophet's wives would cover their faces. And to be close to the Prophet's lives and the Prophet's wives' lives.
Religion can be productive, constructive, or in some cases can be destructive. It depends what your religion teaches you. Judaism teaches you that religion is about the living. It's about being alive, sustaining life, promoting life. Other religions is more leaning towards death. It's all about the dying. And that's quite a contrast of the mother of all religions, of Judaism, that was presented by God, the Ten Commandments, about thou shalt not murder. God means it literally. So when it comes to religion, if a person wants to be strict about their religion, we shall not pick and choose what statues are we going to live with and what are we going to discard and be on our own. So we're going to watch a very interesting interview, and the question was about the burqa. The burqa is a fully enclosed garment that women wear, with the exception of their eyes. And the question was, should it be banned in Britain? My question is, if you're so strict in covering your whole body up, why aren't you strict with valuing life and not sending your children as suicide bombers? Well, let's watch this and then we'll discuss it afterwards. And let's see if we could draw our own conclusions. Until then, please subscribe to our channel so that a little bit of light will push away a lot of darkness.
Is there a danger that males in the audience are attracted to every female in this studio's face who's here? Are they putting themselves in some kind of
Not necessarily every female face, but yeah, it could stir some sort of
passions.
Yes, absolutely.
Why would it not stir passions in a woman to see a man's face?
Well, it's about the burqa, isn't it, and about the woman wearing a veil.
Yeah.
And it's about why women are wearing a veil.
Yes, but I'm interested, if it's about equality, and you feel a sense of liberation, don't you? Why should men not be required to cover their faces too?
It's a good point, but I wouldn't question that. If this is how I understand that the scholars have said, then I would do it.
And it's God's will?
It's God's will. And if you out of your free will choose to be a Muslim, then that's part and parcel of it.
And you're closer to the Prophet, you feel?
Absolutely. You emulate the Prophet's life.
Yeah, emulating the Prophet's life. And also a sense of liberation. You know, she doesn't feel a slave to the fickleness of fashion and being judged.
I'm an Imam in Oxford, and in my Friday sermon I gave 3 compelling reasons why we shouldn't allow the burqa and the niqab to become fashionable commodities in British society.
Should they be banned?
No, I think the British way is not to ban something because it becomes counterproductive. But I want to really elaborate on the 3 reasons, and I want the audience to consider these 3 reasons. The first reason is that nowhere in the Quran is the word burqa or niqab being used. No whatsoever. Also, the burqa and the niqab is a pre-Islamic custom coming from Byzantium and Persia and incorporated in the Islamic society later. Second argument against the burqa and the niqab, that it is sexist and discriminatory. If it's okay for a Muslim woman to hide her face, then Muslim men should hide their faces as well. We are not allowed to hide our face. I can't go into Barclays Bank or the post office or the government office with my balaclava or my motorcycle helmet. So why should we allow in this society, when we have gender equality, why should we allow Muslim women that right? But But I need to develop...
Develop it through the course of the debate, because there's some potent points there. Hamza, please come back on those points. Then we'll open it up.
I've got to stress that it's a freedom of choice. I've chosen to cover my face. I'm not doing it because somebody else has told me to do it, or or I'm feeling suppressed into doing it.
You mentioned the word scholars. Now, you are, like other scholars, they use the hadith. For those of you who don't know, the hadith are the supposed sayings of the Prophet, mostly compiled 250 years after his death. Many, not all, but many are suspect and fraudulent.
But this is not subservience or subjugation. This is entirely your choice.
Absolutely. But it is true that the Prophet's wives would cover their faces. And to be close to the Prophet's lives and the Prophet's wives' lives.
So if the Prophet's wives...
It's also a level of piety as well.
But the Quran itself says that the Prophet's wives are distinctive and different from other women. So you can't claim that bit. This issue is really something that you are saying it is religious. I'm quite happy for you, anyone to have freedom, but it's based on your cultural interpretation and not the religious requirement of Islam.
But Hamza, do you not see that it might well... Some people find it alienating and some people find it threatening, because the face is such a vital part of our communication. Is it not?
Agreed, but then we live in a free country, and I think we should be able to dress as we please.
Dennis McEwen, we can't ban this, can we? This is ridiculous to say. We don't ban things in this country.
We don't ban things, but we can make it very difficult for people to do them. There are lots of things we make difficult. Hamza's problem, I think, is that she doesn't seem to have read any Islamic literature. If she reads the books, the articles, the fatwas, and listens to many of the sermons I've listened to, all explaining that the reason a woman has to wear these forms of clothing is because the woman is inferior to men, it will incite lust in men, a woman should remain in her home unless her husband gives her permission to go outside the home.
So who is it more offensive to, women or men, this then?
I think it's offensive, actually, to an awful lot of people. It's offensive to Jewish, Christian and Hindu women who are chaste without dressing like this.
I've never heard so much rubbish. I don't know what sort of Islamic literature you're reading, but it certainly isn't the same Islamic literature I'm reading. I don't think Hamza should be criticised for her choice, her piety, but I think this is this is above religion. This is about a woman's choice to what she wants to wear, and I think that it's about time men like Sarkozy and Jack Straw stopped going into women's wardrobes. You know, it really
why is it okay for me to show my face but her not to show her face? That's discriminatory, isn't it?
That is her choice. She chooses to dress like that because it's part of her faith.
It's not part of her faith. It's part of a culture, a tribal tradition, the Wahhabi, the Salafi interpretation of Islam. This is the latest fad. Your mother never wore a burqa, so why are you wearing one?
Hamza?
My mother did wear a burqa.
Well, I'm not quite sure about that.
OK, Anna Joy, you want to come in? Labour PPC?
Yeah, can I just bring a different perspective to this, because I think that you're quite wrong, actually. If you look, I want to talk about the evolution of British women in the last 150 years, and I'm afraid, without trying to cause any offence to the young lady in front of me, your dresswear has absolutely nothing to say to me about the evolution of women, modern women, in British society. If you look at the evolution of women's role in British society, from the vote through to equal pay, through to maternity leave, you know, those are absolutely key moments.
Is it not her choice to wear what she wants to wear?
It is her choice, but
people go through... We see people in life, Anna Joy, don't we, with bits of metal through their face.
Well, Nicky, but with the greatest respect, I think that this is a question about the kind of civil society that we in modern Britain want to live in the 21st century.
Okay.
And I think that the burqa does not have a place in a modern British civil society.
You, sir.
Against that view, it does show an evolution of British society, that maybe 150 years ago people weren't allowed to cover their faces because women weren't equal. But now they have the freedom to cover their faces, that's what they will.
That's rather paradoxical, isn't it?
It's a paradox. If it's evolution of free will.
Yeah. Father Jerry? You're not a father, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm Methodist.
You're someone's father, maybe?
Yes. I didn't think about that.
Sorry about that. Yes, that's a bit worrying for a man in a dog collar. What about this? Is this a sign, a symptom of subjugation?
I want to approach it from a purely pragmatic point of view. If we ban the burqa, or whatever it's called, I'm not even sure that's the right word for it.
Niqab, burqa, the general idea.
Yeah. If we ban that, where do we stop? Do we then go on to ban turbans, crosses, dog collars? Do we go on to ban everything else?
The difference surely is that Badisha, her face is being covered. But what, Peter Hitchens, what does it say about what they think about men, that our passions could be so easily inflamed? Look at all these bare faces that we've got in the studio. Are we all uncontrollable sex beasts or something?
Well, I was going to ask you, Hamza, if she wouldn't mind. Do you feel, as you look around here, that all the other women here should be dressed as you are?
It's personal choice.
It is their choice now, but in the kind of society you would presumably prefer, it might not be so much of a
I think
choice.
it would be a safer society.
You think it would be a safer society if they all wore what you wore?
Absolutely.
But isn't this the problem with Islam, that it is, in fact, when it's a minority religion, it's all very liberal and open and a matter of choice. But if it becomes the majority religion and controls the society, then the choice goes, and people are told what to do, and it isn't your choice.
No, not at all. I don't agree with that, because, like the gentleman across there says, it's not by force. You can choose to be a Muslim. If you've chosen to be a Muslim, then obviously everything within Islam is what you're going to be, you know,
but what you and people like you don't answer, and I really want to answer, if the Quran is a transcendent, immutable, divine text, why didn't God put in the word niqab or burqa? And, for example, the issue is really, you know, this is not something that is required by religion. Religion asks for modesty. It doesn't dictate the modesty. What you're wearing is a Saudi Wahhabi thing, tribal dress.
Hamza, I'm interested in, Peter asked you a very interesting question, I'm interested in why this would be, in your ideal society, why it would be safer if all women, for example, in the studio and as we walk the streets and go about our business, were covered as you are.
I'm not going to say cover as I am. I'm saying if everybody dressed in a more modest way and didn't maybe more looser clothing, etc. I think there'd be.
What do you think then when you see the way that some young women dress in this country with just everything hanging out? What do you think?
There's loads of problems in society. It's a very unhealthy society that we live in. There are so many problems. There are very young pregnancies. There are which you do not find in this. Not so many in the Islamic culture.
Badisha?
I think it's very, very dangerous to look at a society and for one woman to blame other women for the ills of what is done to us as women. If the argument is that wearing something like this repels sexual harassment and all sorts of other kind of harassment, I think that in every situation of harassment, discrimination, sexist behaviour, anything like that, the responsibility is on the perpetrator, not on the victim. It's not good enough for us to say, oh, look at these Western women with everything hanging out. We have every right to do exactly what we like. A woman has a right to walk down the street naked and not be harassed or attacked.
Miriam?
To be honest with you, I completely agree, but what I would add is that it's completely irrelevant what Hamza thinks of young women down the street or what you or I think about Hamza. At the end of the day, what feminist battles were fought in this country, what the feminist achievements were the right for women to self-determination, to make decisions for ourselves, be it about contraception, be it about marriage, be it about how we dress, be it about whether we mould our bodies to the conception.
Isn't she saying, I don't want to be part of your society? By covering her face up.
This is a question you have to ask her, and that's a question she's responded to you by saying no. She's saying to you, this is a choice I find empowering, and feminism is about supporting women who found empowerment, whatever route they find their empowerment through.
Claire?
I mean, it's ironic in a way that we can only have this conversation about the woman's right to choose in the West, where we have the kind of guarantee of equal rights for women before the law, and in other countries, women are forced to wear the burqa. It's not a matter of free choice. And so... Yes, because in a way we need the language of the West. We need the language, which is a language coming out of a non-Islamic kind of tradition, to make the case that women are free to wear the burqa.
There's a European Muslim culture, and we're discussing it from within a European Muslim culture, and it's absolutely outrageous.
So are you saying that within Islamic culture, the language is completely a free choice?
The fact of the matter is there is a European Muslim culture in which there is, of course, influence from the language and the debates which have enriched Muslim culture in this country.
Wait. Am I in danger of having my passions inflamed by seeing your face?
Personally, obviously, and again, I think my opinion on this is completely irrelevant. The fact of the matter
I don't think it's irrelevant.
Well, I think it is, because the discussion shouldn't be about what you think or I think. It should be about women's choice to make decisions about their own bodies for themselves.
Have I got a right to feel insulted that somebody thinks I would be inflamed if I saw their face?
Only if you assume that that's what they're thinking, and I think for quite a large portion of these women, that's not what they're thinking.
Yes, sir.
That this is quite a fascinating discussion to look into comparative religions and seeing the traditions of each religion. Well, the burqa is quite the extreme, one may say, from a Westerner who we never seen that. To hide behind a veil for whatever purpose is something which is quite fascinating, how it could be part of a religion. Although we have been told that it's not part of their religion, but as we have both seen it. But in Judaism, there are rules and regulations of how both men and women are supposed to be dressed. There is a dress code. Yes, women need to be dressed properly. Modesty. Men needs to dress modesty. As a matter of fact, even in the Bible, it says a man should not wear a woman's clothes. In the traditional observant world, when a woman gets married, they cover their hair, because their hair is only to be seen by their husband. It's a very intimate and very private, and that's just the laws of modesty. So there is that concept of modesty, but covering up the whole body and not being able to see any part of the face, not able to see communications, the smirking, the smiling, the expressions, the facial expressions, having that all veiled is in the human race. It doesn't give you that opportunity to make that connection. I want to share with you a thought about that. There is a Holocaust survivor by the name of Mrs. Esther Youngrice. She survived the Holocaust. She was a little kid during the Holocaust. She survived, came to America, and became a renowned speaker and writer. We even had a chance to host her at our congregation here in San Diego. But she tells a story about when she and her family were taken to the concentration camp. There was death everywhere. There was the stench of death, of suffering, of sickness, and one can only imagine. Her father looks down on her and says, "Esther, I want you to smile." And Esther, young little girl, I think she said she was 10 years old, 10 years old. She looks up and she says, "Papa, how can I possibly smile in this concentration camp? Look where we're at. Look what's happening around us. How could you possibly smile?" And her father tells us something so poignant and so apropos to what we're talking about. Her father tells her, he says, "Esther, you know, when you were born, God gave you a face. As you grew older, your face grew with you. But you don't see your face. You don't see your face all day long. Your face is not for you. Your face belongs to everyone else who sees it." In Hebrew, the way you say the word face, it's called panim. Panim is a plural word for face. It's faces, plural. There is no Hebrew word for singular face. It doesn't work. It's just, if you know Yiddish, your grandma may have told you, oh, ya sheina panim. Oh, you have a beautiful face. Panim is plural. Why, he tells her, his 10-year-old daughter in the concentration camp, why is our face called panim? It's plural because it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to everyone else. Everyone else who gets to see you. God gave you your face so that when someone looks at your face, they should be inspired. So I want you to smile, Esther, because you are going to make people happy. Even in this hellhole of a concentration camp, you smile. Your little girl smile. You don't know how many people are going to have a glimmer of joy just seeing a beautiful girl smile, even in the darkest and darkest of places. So in Judaism, we believe the face belongs to everyone else. It's not about us. It's about what we can do for you. And that's the fundamental difference between Judaism and many other religions. The Judaism, it's not about us, it's about you. What can we do to help you? How can we be a light unto the nations? My opening statement, when people go through such extremes to be so religious in covering up their whole body that you practically don't know who's behind there, you don't know if it's a boy or a girl or a man or a woman, totally in disguise. You wonder, are you so religious and observant in everything else that God has told you? God has told you to be respectful. God has told you to be loving. God has told you not to kill. God has told you not to lie. God has told you to be an upstanding, good person and not creating terror and horror in the world. And if you're religious, we need to be religious in everything, in all areas. If you're walking in the image of God, then you need to walk in an image that God is proud of you and you don't hide behind the veil. Well, God bless her soul to be brave, to walk around like that. If that's what makes her tick, as they say in French, c'est la vie, enjoy life. But as long as behind the veil there is a good person, an honest person, a loving person, a caring person, who doesn't bring the children up to hate the Jewish people and hate the West, who doesn't hold up the children, as we saw in Iran, when they're holding up the children and say, please, Ayatollah, take our child, use him for a human shield, blow him up, put on a suicide vest. So it was an interesting discussion. Personally, I had a very hard time, and I still have a hard time. During the last 2 years, the protesters on campuses or on the streets always wore masks. And I would ask myself a question. Why is that allowed on the streets of America? Masks should be banned when used at a protest. Because if you believe in something that you want to protest, show us your face. Let us see who you are. Why are you showing up at a protest and hiding so we can't identify you? If you really believe when you're protesting, show us your face. Yet, people came all in masquerade because they are ashamed, they are embarrassed to show the face. If you believe in something, show us your face. Be proud of who you are. Let us see who you are. Let us hear your voice. Let us see your eyes. Let us understand what it's all about. But once you put on a mask, which means you're just a coward, either you have been paid to protest, which we know now who has been funding all these protests, or you just really don't know what to believe. And you just wear a mask because you're hiding from your own self. In America, there are rules and regulations when you come to the DMV to take pictures. They have to see your face. We got to follow the laws of the land. So it's not a question of being racist, but it's also respecting the law of the land. So I hope you got some insights. It's a Freudian slip. You had some insight into what goes on in the Muslim world. And let's hope it doesn't incite us, but rather we should find ways of understanding each other's religion, respecting each other's religions, and religion should be there only to help grow this world to be a better world, a kinder world, a meaningful world. Let's find more that we have in common that divides us. And ultimately we'll be united with the coming of the Messiah speedily in our days. Amen. God bless you. God loves you.